Hey there, ninjas and ninjets. Welcome back to the Optimize Self Show. As always, I'm your host and AKA Sensei, Justin Archer. And if this is your first time watching the show, basically what we're all about here over at OptimizeSelf.ninja, which is basically the host to the Optimize Self Show, as well as the Optimize Self Dojo, is really about helping you rediscover your health, upgrade your fitness, and optimize your wellness, all while having fun kicking ass through lifestyle design. And today we're going to speak we're going to answer some questions that some fellow ninjas and ninjets sent in. One of them actually last minute, literally just a few minutes ago, that I got in that I want to answer, but really be reviewing about that lifestyle design, meaning that we really want to focus on treating the body as a unit. Now, let me take this little slide off so you guys can see me here. Hey there, hi there, ho there. So yeah, this last part, really important, treating the body as a unit. And this is something that when I was practicing postural alignment therapy, I was taught by other practitioners, but it was in the sense of, looking at the body biomechanically speaking as units. So if your lower back hurt, looking at not just the lower back, but the hips, knees, feet, and ankles below it, as well as the shoulders, neck, and head above it, and how those could be contributing to and or causing the lower back to hurt. All right. Well, I want to take that one step further, basically kind of zoom the camera out, because a lot of times when people have symptoms, whether they be chronic pain symptoms, problems like trying to lose weight, trying to put on muscle, trying to have healthier, just well-being, get over sickness, something like that, they tend to use what I call single factor focused thinking, right? They zoom into one specific thing. Maybe it's exercise, maybe it's diet, but one thing, and they get really focused on that. And what I'm going to ask you to do today is we're going to zoom out, okay? It'd be kind of like if I were to take you into the middle of a forest, and it sounds kind of weird, but stick with me here, and put your nose to a tree in the middle of a forest and say, find the forest. Well, you couldn't see anything because unless it was a really skinny tree, all you would see is the trunk, the bark of the tree. But if we step back a couple paces, you would realize that, I'm in a forest. And then if we step back further and further into maybe an open field, right, where there's a nice clearing and everything, and in the distance you can see the forest line, and you can say, there's the forest. Even better yet, if we were to go up in a helicopter, nowadays of the drones, use a drone to get an aerial shot, you can see much clearer where the forest is, where the outline of the forest is, where there's maybe holes in the forest, where there's little ponds and everything. Well, it's the same thing with your body. We have to look at it as a unit and all the pieces that work together. So exercise doesn't live in a bubble. Same thing as diet does not live in a bubble, or sleep, or any other foundations of health. They all interrelate, kind of like the currents of our ocean, right? They all kind of flow in and out of one another. So the reason I want to really speak a lot on this, and I'm going to probably be repeating myself, is because a lot of people come to me asking, how do I fix this, or how to correct this, or how do I do this one thing? And most of them, because this is still early in the transition, for those of you that don't know, it's still up, but I just don't put a lot of work into it, run a website by the name of thepostureguy.com. You can go check it out. It's still up. I'm not going to take it down. I'm just not adding to it anymore. And it was a website that was about helping people get out of pain by improving their posture, as well as optimizing their physical performance through corrective exercise, and basically getting their posture back into alignment. And so, I was doing this and, watching people that would get better, but I soon realized that I was doing them a huge disservice by focusing just on the physical and not looking at the exercise part of the problem, and not zooming out and looking at the body as a unit, biochemically speaking, cognitively speaking, all of it, neurologically, everything. And so that's what I want to share with you about this, because a lot of people, come to me through the posture guy still, and they're asking about certain symptoms. Now, granted, I did this to myself in that I basically put it out there that, I help people get out of pain. So that's the number one type of questions I get, and I did so through corrective exercises. But as you evolve, as you get better, I'm learning that more and more I have over the years is that exercise is great, but it's not the only thing. And if you don't address the six other foundations of your health, you're doing yourself a huge disservice. So today and in the future, I may recommend exercise routines, corrective exercise routines to help with back pain, knee pain, foot pain, whatever the case may be. But understand, if that exercise routine, for example, to relieve your pain is only half an hour, right? And most of them go between 30 and 60 minutes. So let's say half an hour. Okay, you can do that. And I guarantee you're going to feel some results. You're going to feel benefits from it, but it can't outdo the other 23 and a half hours of your day. Okay, it's important to remember that your body is a stimulus response organism, and it responds to stimulus 24/7 without prejudice. So it's what you do the majority of the time that matters, not your best intentions. Okay, and I'm going to probably repeat that 2 or 3 times today, but it's very, very important that you get that. Okay, so like I said, I'm going to speak on that. I may even go on a rant later. Who knows? Um, let's get to answering some questions. We got 3 today. Some are follow-ups, some are new ones. But before we do, I'm going to share with you something here on the screen that I think is important to review. Okay. And let me put this here. Sorry for the matrix screen share here. So these are the 7 foundations of health that I'll be referring to. Some of you who've seen the show before are very familiar with them. Some of them who are new might be going, what is this? Basically, as you can see, it's set up kind of in a pyramid fashion and with breathing on the bottom, exercise at the top. Now, it's for that reason, not because exercise is the most important. Quite the contrary, actually. Although exercise is important, it is the least important part of optimizing yourself, of getting out of pain, of losing weight, of ridding yourself of maybe some autoimmune type of symptoms, or whatever the case may be, whatever it is you're struggling with, whatever is health, fitness, wellness goal you're trying to attain and maintain. Exercise, although important, is the least important part. Okay, and these foundations of health, basically, how I came to this was combining a lot of the smartest minds out there in different areas of health, fitness, and wellness who knew more about these particular subjects, because there's people out there that know way more than me about breathing or hydration or sleep, but taking what they know and then combine it and going, what do we need as human beings in order to survive? What would we perish with if you took away first? Well, obviously breathing, right? Can't go that long without breathing. I mean, even the people who can hold their breath the longest, aren't going to live that long without breathing. Then second would be hydration, then sleep, and so on and so forth. You don't need to exercise on a regular basis. You should, and it's beneficial, but we see plenty of people out there who don't exercise and they're not dead, right? They may not be in the best, they're usually not in the best of health or best of shape, but they would be a lot worse off if they exercised but then didn't optimize their breathing or they didn't sleep at all, right? So that's why this is set up this way. In stage 1, to recover your health, you want to optimize your breathing, hydration, sleep. In stage 2, to upgrade your fitness, you want to, in addition to having optimized your breathing, hydration, and sleep, and by optimize, doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be 100%, but try to shoot for 80% or above. Okay. Stage 2, to upgrade your fitness, add on nutrition and stress to that. Not adding stress, but how to optimize how your body and your mind reacts to stress. And then stage 3, to optimize your wellness, including movement and exercise. And then you see the 2 rings around it, the environment and mindset. And that's because your environment, whether it be the people, the air, objects that you interact with, the foods that you have around you, all that stuff, as well as your mindset, are always positively or negatively influencing the 7 foundations of health. So that's why that's put up there like that. But look at this, take a screenshot if you want, ingrain this in your mind, because I'm going to be referring back to it quite often, but for you to view it. Okay, I might. We'll see. Okay, so let's go into the first question here. And oh, Lisa, let's find hers here. Lisa had wrote him before for some help with lower back pain, and she wrote back that she appreciates the advice and for the shout out in the show. Lisa, you're absolutely welcome. And she goes on to say that I will try to apply the required discipline to embody the various requirements of breathing, hydration, nutrition, exercise, stress, and movement. Definitely going to try the breathing and sleeping techniques tonight. I will stay tuned, share the good news, and invite my friends and family to join optimizedself.ninja. Have a good night. Best regards, Lisa. Well, Lisa, thank you very, very much for that, for for sharing the love and spreading the word. I really, really appreciated that. And what I wanted to do is, Lisa, just ask, how are you doing? I know it's only been a few days since you sent this email, but I love interacting with you guys. And trust me, it's not some empty, open invitation when I say, hey, I want to hear back from you. I really, really want to, because there's a couple things in this email that kind of jump out to me, okay? And at least I don't mean to psychoanalyze. These are just kind of common denominators I've noticed when people email me as little red flags, little things that stand out. Okay, so she says, I will try, and there's a bold on try, to apply the required discipline to embody the various requirements of blah, 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 blah. She goes on to list some of the foundations of health that I had previously mentioned, I believe is in episode 3 or 4. So she makes a good point. I will try to apply the required discipline. And, to try, great. That is a great starter. And I can totally sympathize because I've been there, done that. Sorry, let me switch over. You guys don't need to see that all the time. Switch over back to me. I know it's boring looking at a screencast. There we go. I'm going to be looking still at the screen, so don't mind me. I've been there where it's very overwhelming and frustrating at times to take on so much, especially lifestyle design. Again, we talked about it. It's not just exercise. It's not just diet. It's not just breathing. It's all these things together. So yeah, start with, the most important, the breathing, the hydration, the sleep. And you also mentioned the required discipline to do these things. Well, I like leveraging off systems and principles and frameworks and other people because I know myself and I know most people, we're lazy. And I mean that in the best way. Humans by nature, we're going to take the path of least resistance. And so let's bet on that. Let's use that to our advantage. And that's why, full disclosure here, I regularly recommend people to join the Optimized Self Dojo. The reason being is because inside of the dojo, I have put together excuse me, tickle my throat. It's extremely dry here in Saxe, Texas. Okay. So I've put together inside the Optimized Self Dojo, which is part accountability, part support group, right? So that'll help with the discipline. You can kind of outsource that to other ninjas and ninjettes as well as myself to help hold you accountable, to support you in your health, fitness, wellness endeavors. I believe the one you're trying to work on right now is getting rid of some lower back pain. So doing that, as well as in the dojo, is the Optimize Self Arsenal. I'm going to show you this coming up here in a little bit, so stay tuned. There are various tools, resources, and guides that will basically take you virtually by the hand and walk you through what to do. Step 1, do this. When this is done, step 2, then step 3, and so on and so forth. Because yeah, I totally get it. There's a lot coming at you, and so what's the saying? The complexity is the arch nemesis of execution. So when you have a lot of information, coming at you at once, it seems very complex, and that drastically lowers the likelihood that you're going to take action and do it, even if you have the best intentions to do so. So this, as well as many other reasons, is one of the reasons that I recommend people to join the dojo. And again, I want to be fully transparent. I post these episodes on my homepage, optimizeself.ninja, and under each episode is basically a sales page saying, here's what's included inside the dojo. And the reason I did that is because I want people to join, and I am not going to shy away from telling people join, sign up. That includes making a payment. Because one, right now the payment is extremely low. Your return on investment is insanely high. I think you can start right now for like $12 or something like that. That's one payment, lifetime membership access. And for that, just in the first year, you're going to get over $3,650 worth of value. And then really that each and every year, but you only have to pay once, okay? And so I recommend people to do that because, I do these shows as a way to kind of get the message out and to help people. And I love Q&A. I love giving people free information. The reason I want people, at least this includes you, people, but anybody to join the dojo is because it's when they join the dojo that I can give them access to this, what I call the arsenal, because it's almost like an arsenal, but instead of weapons, it's these, well, you can jokingly say weapons of mass optimization, okay? All these tools, guides, and resources that I've used over my lifetime, both for myself, my one-on-one clients, my retainer clients, my friends, my family, and all of that, to help them achieve their goals faster, simpler, more efficiently, all of that. And that's what I want to give you access to, as well as inside the dojo, there's community, right? There is built-in accountability. There's built-in support. We do weekly live trainings, which you're more than welcome to come on. You can type out questions for me. I can answer live. You can even come on, on screen with me, and we can share dialogue. We can have a discussion. So that's those and many other reasons, but those are kind of the key reasons why I would suggest joining the dojo. So then it's not so much trying, right? There's a recipe of here's what to do. So you don't have to try as much. You have to do, but there's a game plan, there's a recipe, and it's step one, step two, and it's just like following a recipe you find online to come out with a, whatever you want to have. Maybe pie, perhaps. So that's number one. That may be the only one. Let me check real quick. I'm just reviewing the email Lisa sent me. Yeah, and then like I said, lean on the ninjas and ninjets and myself inside the dojo so that you don't have to have as much discipline. Again, kind of outsource that to us so we can help hold you accountable, so we can support you. And that's why I started this all, really, is so that we could come together and help one another. And I tell you what, it's really cool. I've seen some people in the group who someone's asked a question and maybe I wasn't there to answer because, there's people chiming in from all parts of the world. I might be asleep and they come in and they answer a question someone else had because, again, I was sleeping. And it's really cool to see that people are learning, because one of the best ways of learning is teaching someone else. And I tell you what, I think when you are able to do that inside the group, it's really cool. And then I think solidifies anything that you learn from any of the tools, guides, and resources inside the Optimized Self arsenal, as well as just kind of personal experience. All right, so definitely check that out, Lisa, as well as anybody else watching. And like I said, yeah, let me know. I post these on the homepage kind of as a YouTube playlist on optimizeself.ninja. But if you click through, I'll show you really quick so you know how to do this, and we'll get on to the next question. Let's see. Okay. So if you go to, let me grab this here. All right, so we'll go to optimizeself.ninja. And it's loading here. If you click here, it will open over on YouTube. That's me talking. And in the comment section, you can reply and ask any questions. So that's where I would say, yeah, let me know. If I answer one of your questions inside an episode, go ahead and leave your comment there or any follow-up questions, and I'd be more than happy to answer them. Okay? So let's see, what do we got going on next? Okay. Let's see. Excuse me, I'm just looking at a list here. If I didn't have these little bullet points, who knows where I would go with this. Okay, Nevis has a follow-up question, and I'll try to give you as much background information as I can. Nevis is actually a member, a ninja of the Optimize Self Dojo, and I'm going to bring up, where was his comment? I had it here. Okay. And I'll go ahead and share the screen with you guys so you can see. Oops, I do not want to stop broadcast. That would have been bad. Okay. So Nevis's follow-up question, and this was from a, what was this from? This was, I think, from one of our live trainings that we do inside the dojo each Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. It says, 4 more follow-up questions. And Nevis, if I remember correctly, was suffering from some knee pain. And he says, yep, regarding if my knee is pointed inwards or outwards, I believe it is pointed outwards. Might sound funny. I actually become too conscious that when someone asks me to send a pic, I really forget how I usually stand. I think it's called proprioception. Basically, yeah, just being overly aware of how you stand and then kind of self-correcting or adjusting yourself when you know someone's taking your picture or examining your posture. That's pretty common. Will the knee and hip routines you suggested fix this problem as well? Let's go to that before we go on to number 7. All right, Nevis. So I'm going to give you guys, for those of you who aren't dojo members, a little glimpse into the dojo by answering Nevis's question here. Okay, so let me find this here. Inside it's basically a private Facebook group, there is a link to the Optimize Self Arsenal. And if you go in here, Nevis, you will go to the table of contents, and you'll go to the Optimize Self First Aid. I think it's just lagging. Okay, cool. And you go here, and if your knees, I believe he said, are turning out, I just want to make sure that's correct. Yeah, if they're pointed out, then I would do the knee pain with external rotation. And when you click this, it'll open up a document, and each of these links here, the name of the exercise is linked to a YouTube video where my wife Anya and I are showing you how to do the exercises. Okay, so there's 4 exercises here. Okay, and then what I would recommend following up with is the hip pain routine, and there are 4 exercises there. And Nevis, what I'd recommend for you to do is do the knee pain exercises immediately followed by the hip pain routine. And I'll clarify a little bit more on that in just a moment. Sorry, I keep putting all the windows out there. I'm going to skip 7 and 8 for just a moment. I'll come back to that. The name of the equipment, if you are interested in one of the exercises called the supine groin progressive, okay, in tower. And so what he's referencing is a piece of equipment called the multi-positioning tower. And so here's what I'll let you know. If you didn't want to get the tower right away, although it's an awesome piece of equipment, I think they run 120, 130. We'll see in just a moment. But if you wanted to try this without, what I'd recommend doing is on the knee pain, do exercises 1 through 3. Okay, then hop over to the hip pain and do exercises 1 through 4. Okay, so do the supine groin stretch instead of the supine groin progressive in tower. The outcome we're looking for is the same. The supine groin progressive in tower does do it a lot better, but start with the supine groin stretch, and that may be, sufficient stimulus enough to correct the position of your knee. Okay, so that's what I would do. Again, knee pain, external rotation routine, exercises 1 through 3, and then hip pain, exercises 1 through 4, okay? If you did want to spring for the multi-positioning tower, I'll include this link in the description below. It's sold through an outfit, funny name, crookedhuman.com. fitting, seeing how it's a piece of equipment, an apparatus to correct postural misalignments, right? And it tells you a little bit about it down here. Oh, I think they lowered it to 100, so maybe it's a little less than what I thought. So I'll make sure to include that in there as well. Okay, and let's see. That's for the knee pain. Now, Nevis asked two more questions here that I think are important because right now it's just acting about the exercise routines. But remember what I said before is the exercises are just part of it. And actually they're a smaller part. You know, if that routine that I just recommend Nevis to do, you know, is only going to take roughly 40 to 45 minutes, you know, it's let's say 40 minutes. Or let's play devil's advocate, let's say 45. You know, it's what you do the other 23 hours and 15 minutes of the day that matters more, because it's what you do the majority of the time that matters, not your best intentions. And Nevis goes on to ask, you know, is the recommendation of posture, basically some, you know, posture while working with a laptop, not PC? And there absolutely is. And so where you're going to go, let me close this hip pain and knee pain, inside the arsenal, okay, if you go back to the table of contents and you go to the optimizing your movement module. So let's click here. Sorry, I think it's a little laggy because I've got a lot going on. And you scroll down, there's a whole presentation on how to optimize your Hangout. There's also some slides included. And again, if anybody watching this show is going, where is this? Where do I find this? This is inside the dojo. And at the end, I'll show you how you can sign up for that and get access to this like Nevis has. There is, where is it? The two I'd recommend, definitely one, is learn how to work pain-free at your PC. Okay, that's a good video tutorial that will show you how to set up some good workstations to improve your posture while you are working on your PC. And the other is how should you be sitting. So I would definitely recommend those, as well as the standing ones if you choose to work from a standing workstation, which I know a lot of people are starting to adopt, as you know, the word is getting out that, you know, sitting is the new smoking. So and as a lot of people have heard me say before, they ask, you know, what's the best position to work from or sit in? Really, your next position is your best position. It's, you know, you don't want to be stagnant. You don't want to get stuck in any one particular position. One's not better than the other. It's really, you know, variety is the spice of life, so to speak. Okay. And again, you know, if you're working at the PC longer than 45 minutes, which most people are nowadays, then that is going to have a much greater effect on your posture and your knee pain than simply doing the exercises. Okay. And let's see, the last question Nevis has is, I read somewhere that sitting on a balance ball instead of a chair while working is a great idea to rectify postural imbalances in body. Is this true? Yeah, you can work on a chair, you can work on a floor. I mean, this is why, although I know desktop computers, you can usually get more bang for your buck performance-wise, I love having laptops. I don't know if I can ever go back to a laptop. A desktop. I like the bigger screen, but I would get like a dock where you can dock your laptop and then work from the bigger screen if that's what you like or you need that type of screen real estate. But I have a laptop, a 13-inch MacBook Pro, and I love that I can, you know, right now, yes, it's on a desk stacked on top of some books. I can stand with it. I could lay it on the ground sideways on my back with some bed spectacles that have prisms in them, so I can work from my back. I can work from my side. I get to choose the platform on which my laptop sits. It could be even on my lap, as the name suggests. So, but yeah, a balance ball would also be beneficial. So yeah, Nevis, hopefully that helps answer your question. And again, let's review too. Don't forget, and I'm sure Nevis isn't, so I'm talking to everybody else, wink, wink, but also reminding Nevis that the exercises are good, and I'm glad he asked questions. And if you actually, Nevis, if you go back and look at the questions you asked, just in this short bit of questions, I want to really acknowledge that your questions have gotten better. And this is what I love to see is people not just asking, hey, this hurts, how do I fix it? But hey, this hurts, you know, how do I fix it? Yeah, through my posture or exercise, but could how I sit, could be what I sit on, could be what I eat, could be, these other areas of life be affecting it. If so, I might try changing this or this. What do you think? What's your opinion? What do you recommend? I like that. That's definitely zooming out and looking at the forest, like we talked about, from the field or from up in the sky or the drone, instead of trying to solve the problem with your nose basically pushed up against a tree and going, where's the forest? So I definitely like this improvement in questions, Nevis. Yeah, because now we start to zoom out instead of just being zoomed in on exercise or just exercise and movement. We zoom out and we get to see, oh, how's breathing affecting the knee pain? How's hydration and sleep and nutrition and stress affecting it? Movement, what are you sitting on and how are you sitting? And how are you working at your PC? That definitely would be under movement. Again, what you sit on and how, yeah, basically what you sit on, what you're interacting with, that would be your environment. And so I like that your mindset is really taking all the foundations of health into consideration. So that's awesome. Okay, so I think that covers Nevis's questions. Yep. Sorry, that little note's just for me. Let me pull off the screen share. We might go back. And all right, now back. So, Nevis, hopefully that helps answer all your follow-up questions. Great questions too. So like I said, Nevis and I have been going back and forth, and I think that was some great follow-up questions, and hopefully my answers help answered his questions, but also got to show some people who are not yet in the dojo some of the things that are included. And the great thing is it's an alive, organic group of people, as well as the tools, resources, and guides can always be upgraded and adapted to best serve you, to give you the most value. That's why I host them in Google Docs, as they're live. You can leave me comments, questions, suggestions, some criticism, whatever, and I could tweak and change them live. And I don't have to give you a new link or a new version of it. It's live and it's updated there. So it's really, really neat how it all works together. And I invite you to come on in and see for yourself, like Nevis did. All right. So let's see. Oh, and this was the last minute question that came in, actually sent last night, but I got the permission by Richard here. Richard, hi, by the way, to share with you his email and a picture he sent in about his posture. Okay, so let's go to that. Let me find. Okay, there we go. Found his email. And let's do screen share. To try this. Hopefully you guys can see just, yes, cool. Okay, you guys can just see this email. So let me scroll down here. Okay, sorry if the screen's all jumping around. So Richard originally wrote me with some questions about swayback lordosis, and this is a really popular topic, it seems, over at thepostureguy.com. This is probably #1 thing I get asked about a lot. And he says, I've just been watching your video on YouTube, which explains the difference between swayback and lordosis. For the past, let me move this over here. For the past 12 months, I have been experiencing back pain on and off. Thanks to your videos and hours of research, I believe that I may have found what my problem is. It only occurred to me that something was wrong a week ago when I attempted to do some back exercises as part of my fitness program. I really struggled to do the simplest exercises. I've noted the following problems since then: tight back muscles, on and off middle back pain, slight neck pain, obvious C curve in my lower back, abs/stomach sticking out in stance, my toes point outwards. Have found that I feel better lying down straight and bending forward. Back pain after working for a couple hours. I've attached a picture of myself for your assessment. He believes that he does have both lordosis and swayback. And I'm going to show you the picture in just a moment. But I basically asked him, if I can use his email and picture in this episode here of the Optimized Self Show, so that others can learn from me answering him. So, and he said yes. And he also added a couple more things. Okay, he also made some bullet points to kind of give me some more info. He said he spent many years carrying heavy rucksacks, etc., which he thinks may be possible or be a factor of his poor posture. He's also sustained some ligament damage to both knees and left foot. He's also a very active person, spends a lot of time walking around the nature reserve he works at. That sounds like a cool job. Rowing, boxing, he used to jog quite a lot. He says he experienced a lot of back pain while carrying out the ladder. This is the reason why I stopped. He's about 6 foot tall, so he does bend down often. And it says he's quite confident that his muscles are long and taut after watching the videos, which are brilliant, by the way. Thank you for that. The only thing I can't understand is that my toes and knees seem to point outwards rather than inwards, which I believe is a feature or sign, I guess, of the short and tight psoas major. All right, so now let's look at Richard down here. Now we just got one side view. Just a heads up or FYI for Richard or anyone else who is going to send some photos in for me to evaluate. If you can send one from the front, back, left, and right side. And guys in shorts that show your knees, ladies or ninjets, as I refer to, ninjas and ninjets, same thing, shorts that show your knees, and basically what we're trying to see is the main load-bearing joints. So the ankles, the knees, the hips, the shoulders, okay? So we got this one photo, that's fine. It'd be good to see his knees, but I think he says they point out anyways. So what we can see here, and Richard, I'm going to basically do an evaluation as I see it, and everybody else can kind of listen in and kind of learn from it. You're definitely on to, some things that you said. Where was it? So I got to scroll up here. Yeah, you said like long and taut. Well, if the knees do point out, I would say that you're more short and tight. So I know I can't see this ankle down here, but I can kind of see this one. And you can see from, if you continue down here where the ankle would be, that the knee is in front of the ankle and the hip is in front of the knee and the ankle. So that's what's known as anterior pelvic shift, which is different than anterior pelvic tilt, which you also have. The anterior pelvic tilt we can see here by the waistband, where the front of it is lower than the back of it. That would show your ASIS, or anterior superior iliac spine, is lower or tilted forward relative to your PSIS, or posterior superior iliac spine, okay? And as a result of that, you do have this lordosis in your lower back, right? That extreme inward curvature, which then translates into this sway back, or kyphosis, this kyphotic rounding, kind of C-shaped, of the upper back, and the shoulders are behind the hips, so you have sway back. So you're right, you do have lordosis, you do have sway back, and then you also have some kyphosis here in your upper back. And you can even see, so that you can look ahead, your neck actually starts to hyperextend. You can see it kind of tilts back. I don't know if you experience any neck pain, headaches, migraines, blurriness in or fatigue in your eyes, or just neck or kind of upper trap pain. But those would definitely not surprise me given the posture here that you're presenting. You can also see how the shoulders, the whole shoulder capsule, is significantly rolled forward. I know we can't see the photo from the front, but I guarantee you that if me and the other viewers were to stand in front of you, we'd be able to see the entire backs of your hands, more so on your left than your right, it appears in this photo. And ideally, when you look at someone head on, you should just be able to see the thumb and forefinger, not the entire back of the hands. If so, that is a red flag that the arm and shoulder are internally rotated, okay? And you said your knees and feet point out. So yeah, I would say that you are short and tight. You're also a classical condition 1. And for those of you that don't know what that means, I'm going to show Richard couple things that he can do and where to start from. Okay, so let's now go to, I'm going to change the screen. Oops. Okay, now it's going to go back to me for some reason. Sorry about that. All right, let's just share the entire screen because that's a bit easier. Okay. So here's what I'd recommend starting with is, and I will link this in the description below, Richard, is one called Correcting Common Posture Deviations, Anterior Pelvic Tilt with Externally Rotated Femurs, aka what I refer to as athlete hips. That's the anterior pelvic tilt, that's the knees and feet pointed out. That's me doing the jump on it tanto dance, which whenever I see this posture type, it reminds me of that Will Smith deal that he did in French Prince of Bel-Air. So that's why I'm in that pose, if you're wondering. Oh, that's what it was. Sugar Hill Gang's Apache. That was the name of the song. I just read my own article. I was like, what's that called? And under here, there's a list of, what do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 exercises that you can do. Each one of these will link to a YouTube video that will show you how to do each of these exercises. And that's where I'd recommend to start to address those postural deviations and compensations that I mentioned, okay? And again, I'll link this in the show notes below. Let's see, is there anything else? You know, other than that, I would definitely recommend, you know, okay, how else would we go about this in terms of the other foundations of health? Well, breathing, especially when you're in the static back position or supine groin position, which I believe both are in that routine. I think we can, let's double check. Yep, there's static back, and there's supine groin stretch. You can also do it in frog, but definitely those two. Breathing diaphragmatically, meaning down in the lower abdomen. Sorry, I'm going to go back to this. In the lower abdomen, east to west, is going to really help facilitate your pelvis and your lower back muscles to relax and let go, kind of through an internal massage from your diaphragm. And I guarantee you the posture that you presented here, that you're not getting that your diaphragm has shut down and you're breathing more in your upper chest, back, and kind of neck, shoulder area, okay? I think you even say that in one of the muscles about something, oh, the abs and stomach sticking out. So, and actually this is what I want to do. I want to go through some of these symptoms that you had mentioned, okay? You said tight back muscles. And granted, yeah, you're going to see a lot of these muscles in the lower back, what's known as the spinal erectors. They're the muscles that run parallel to your spine on either side. You got them on the left side and the right side. They're basically kind of ropey and sinewy. They run up and down the length of the spine, just to the either side. Yeah, those are definitely tight, because if you think of your spine as a whip and your pelvis as the handle to the hip, with the handle tilted in such a way, this anterior pelvic tilt, you are getting this extreme curvature in the lower back, right? And then segmentally, that's going to cause a change or an adaptation in the mid back, and then in the upper back, all the way into the neck and head. So remember, the head, the shoulders, the upper spine, they're all at the mercy of what's below it. Just like a house, you know, if you see a house tilting, it's because the foundation below it is tilted, okay? So as you get your hips back underneath you, as you return to more neutral pelvic position, this lordosis, this extreme inward curvature of your lower back, will lessen, and that will mean less of an arch in your upper back, and curvature in your neck and everything will return back to its normal state. Okay, let's see. On and off middle back pain, same thing, slight neck pain. So it's funny, I didn't even call on these, but like I said, you're probably experiencing this, these types of symptoms. Obvious C curve in lower back, that's what I refer to as the lordosis. Abs, stomach sticking out, knees and feet pointed out. So yeah, this is really an issue of dynamic tension. And dynamic tension is really just a $10 fancy word term for balance of weight front to back. So if you dropped a imaginary line just at your ankle joint and went straight up, ideally you want that to go right through your ankle, knee, hip, shoulder, and ear. But you can see your ankle's probably about here. I know we can't see in this photo, but if we go straight up, you can see none of your other load-bearing joints, your knees, hips, shoulders, and even though your ear isn't a load-bearing joint, it's still kind of a marker for postural alignment. None of those would line up on there, right? So if we went straight up, everything is leaning forward. And so a lot of your back muscles in your lower, mid, upper back, your neck is also part of your back. It's your spine, it's just the topmost part of your spine. All those are contracting as a way to keep you from literally falling forward on your face. If they didn't, every time you stood up, you would just face plant. I know that sounds funny, but it's actually true. So hopefully that helps make it clear why you're having these symptoms. And it says that you found that you feel better lying down. I just want to make sure you guys can see the make sure you can see the screen. Feel better lying down straight and bending forward. And if you lay down on your back and then bend forward, that's going to cause your pelvis to go more in a neutral position, and that extreme curvature in your lower back to lessen, to start to flatten out. One of the exercises you will definitely like is the static back position, which is the first recommended position or exercise in that routine that I suggested, which I'll link to in the description. Okay. Sorry, I keep doing that. Let's go up a little bit. Let's see. You said you spent many years carrying heavy rucksacks and other things. Could that be a factor in your posture? Not moving the rucksacks, but how you move them. So if you carry them on one side, like your left side or your right side, more than the other, then yes, form follows function. So if you carry them one way asymmetrically, then that could definitely cause an imbalance. I don't know how you carry them. It'd be interesting to see some photos or a video of you carrying them, and I can probably give you more advice or opinion on that. But definitely, yes, how you carry them repetitively, time and time, since total health and posture is accumulative, it could be a contributing factor. I don't think it's the only factor or even the biggest factor, but it is a contributing factor. Sustained ligament damage to both knees and left foot. Well, if you look at the pictures here, the knees are really open to injury. I'm not sure how long ago the ligament tears happened, but ideally the knees should be directly above the ankle and directly below the hips. That's where they like to live. With them out here, they're very much open and susceptible to injury. And in this position, there's a lot more force on the knee joints, basically right on the kneecap where your femur and your shin meet. Right in that kneecap, there's a lot of pressure pushing out, and it's your body doing all it can so that your femur really doesn't almost jut through the bottom of your kneecap towards the floor. I know that sounds pretty violent and kind of scary, but that's what's going on. And that's why it puts those ligaments in your knees under a lot more strain. So as you get your ankles, knees, hips, shoulders, ear, and everything back into proper alignment, that will lessen. The pressure in knees will lessen. The weight will be more evenly distributed front to back, as well as left to right too. But with you, we're definitely dealing with more of a dynamic tension issue than a balance issue. I'm sure you have some balance issues, which balance would be left to right. Dynamic tension is balance of weight front to back. Let's see. Says that you're very active. That's awesome. You do rowing, boxing, used to jog a lot, but experienced a lot of back pain while carrying a ladder. Also, you say that you're 6 foot tall, so you bend down often. So let's take those two things. A lot of people ask, because I'm tall, does that have anything to it? Well, yes, if you have to bend down a lot and you bend down to maybe one side more than the other, that's going to definitely add to, because form follows function. It's what you do the majority of the time that matters. Then that is going to add to postural misalignments. But I think if your posture is already like this, okay, and then you add a ladder, I don't know what it was made out of, how heavy it was, but even the lightest ladder, because of the length of it, there's the leverage is different, right? It'd be like saying if we extended your arms 2-3 times as long and you held them overhead or behind you or in front of you. Now, simply because of leverage, they're heavier because they're further out away from you. Right now, you can see your lower back is like an accordion. Everything, the focal point, you can see from here up to your hips, you're leaning forward, and then it takes right about here a violent turn back, because if everything kept going forward, you would most certainly fall flat on your face. But instead, your body goes, wait, 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 and it leans back right here at the lower back. And right here, I guarantee if you did an x-ray of your lower back, it would look a lot like an accordion squishing together. And that's where all that pressure is, okay? Now you add a ladder to this equation and you have weight either way in front of you or way behind you, then these muscles are already under stress, just you standing with your own body weight. You add any weight above, whether it be a ladder or one of the sacks you carry or any type of object, it's just going to exacerbate the problem, okay? And was there anything else? No, I think that was it. So, yeah, we can touch quickly on, what else. Actually, I'm sorry, I'm going to check Richard's email one more time to make sure I didn't miss anything. Nope. Okay, cool. We got everything. And then, Richard, the last but certainly not least is, again, the exercises are great, but, and this goes out to Richard, but also everybody watching and listening, is exercise alone is not enough. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, and I say this optimistically, but also realistically. It's not fair to put the sole responsibility of your health on exercise, because, one, again, it's what you do the majority of the time that matters, not your best intentions. And unless you're exercising, and I'll even disprove myself here in a second wrong on this, but I used to say, unless you're exercising 12 hours and 1 second out of every 24 hours, which I know no one is doing out there, then you can say, exercising what I do the most. But actually that's not true, because while you're exercising for 12 hours and 1 second or more every 24-hour cycle every day, you would need to breathe. And the average human takes 22 to 30,000 breaths per day. Well, if you're exercising for 12 hours and 1 second, you're going to be breathing much, much more than the average person, because the average person does not work out that much. I don't quite frankly know anyone who does. I would not recommend it. Let's put it that way. And you're also going to need more water. The average person, you want to drink half your body weight in ounces of water per day. Well, you're going to need a lot more if you were exercising 12 hours and 1 second or more per day. Same thing with sleep. You need more recovery. And the position that you sleep in, as well as the environment, but especially the position, that could help or hurt you getting at a back pain. It's also important to consider nutrition. You can do the exercise routine that I just recommended, and it will help realign your posture. And that's going to help remove the inflammation in your back and other places of the body where you feel pain, biomechanically speaking. So if there's pressure in the low back, like I said, the accordion, and it changes the alignment of the lower back, there's no pressure on the low back. But what if you're eating foods, unbeknownst to you, that are causing biochemically induced inflammation? Well, now that's like pouring gasoline on a fire, while on the exercise front, you may be like the firefighters who are putting out the fire, right? They're blowing it with the water hose and everything, trying to put out the fire. And at the same time you're doing that with the exercise, you're pouring gasoline on the fire by maybe eating foods that you may have intolerances to, or otherwise known as food sensitivities, not to be confused with food allergies. And these are all things, including stress and environment, mindset, all that stuff, that I get into inside the dojo. So once again, I'm going to back out of here because I like talking to you guys face to face. Come on. The camera was thinking about it. So once again, I strongly encourage everybody to, if you're not already inside the Optimized Self Dojo, to go ahead and sign up for it. Come in and see what it's about. If you have any questions or concerns, you can always contact me before you sign up. But come on in. There's a 30-day money-back guarantee. And again, the reason I want you in there, understand, is not because I want you to come in and I got your money or anything. Is because I want to help you. But unless you're inside the dojo, I'm limited to the tools and resources and guides that I can give you and recommend to you, as well as my own time that I can give and recommend to you. Because inside the dojo, it's not just me. right? There's other people like Nevis and others who could help you when I'm not there. And so you're getting so much more value inside the dojo rather than out. That's why I recommend people to sign up for it, is so that I and the other Optimize Self ninjas and ninjets could help you to the best of our ability. And we can give you access to the tools, guides, and resources, what I refer to as the Optimize Self arsenal, give you access to those. Okay. Let's see. Is there anything else? Ba-dum-bum-bum. So last, but certainly not least, I told you I was going to repeat this, and I know I already have. Again, this goes to Lisa, Nevis, Richard, anyone else watching, is it's very important to treat the body as a unit. And if you take away one thing from this today, is remember, your body is a stimulus response organism that responds to stimulus 24/7 without prejudice, which means that if you do postural corrective exercises for half an hour, your body is going to respond to that by changing its posture, and you're going to feel better. But then if you and I got in a car and we drove from Los Angeles, California to Las Vegas, right? 4, 5, 6 hours, depends on traffic, how long it gets there. Well, our bodies are also going to respond to the stimulus of sitting in a car for that long, right? If you took pictures before we did postural corrective exercises and they weren't as good, and we did half an hour of postural corrective exercises and you took a picture right after, you go, oh, look, it's better. But then you've gotten to a car, drove to Vegas for 4 hours. I guarantee you that if after we got out of the car, took pictures, it would not be as good as it was after the exercise, because we just spent 4 hours in a car basically lamentating our glutes and stuck in flexion. And I mean, there's not much you can do in a car because you're kind of stuck in a seated position, right? Not to even throw in other things like breathing, hydration, sleep, all that other stuff. So I mean, that's just one example that I use to describe to people that it's what you do the majority of the time that matters, not your best intentions. So try your best to not approach solving your problem, addressing your problem, fixing your problem, however you want to phrase it, with kind of single factor focus, blinders on. Okay. Don't try to just exercise the problem away. Don't try to just diet the problem away. Try to zoom out, see the forest from afar, see the problem, look at your body as a unit. And this is a tough one, and I'll actually try to remember to put this in the show notes, is a post I did back over on thepostureguy.com about self-reflection, and that it's the hardest exercise ever. Push-ups, pull-ups, squats, deadlifts, all that stuff is easy in comparison. But to actually step back and go, what am I doing well? What am I not doing as well? And those things I'm not doing as well, how can I change my strategy so that I can do those things better, faster, simpler, more consistently? It's tough to really be honest with ourselves, to look in the mirror and say, hey, you can't blame the 30 minutes of exercise you're doing for not fixing your problem if you're suboptimal in breathing, hydration, sleep, nutrition, stress, and movement the other 23 and a half hours, right? You got to be honest with yourselves. And I think we should all be honest with each other, which is another kind of benefit inside the dojo, is we call each other on stuff, and not in a hurtful, hey, this is your fault or anything that way, but we're kind of each other's BS meters to kind of, hey, have you done this? Have you done this? Have you been tracking this? Do you know this? And trying to help kind of guide, almost like those bumper rails in bowling, trying to guide people to find their solution on how to best optimize themselves. So I'll try to remember to include that link to that post on self-reflection inside, because like I said, it's important, and I'm going to say it one more time and then I'm going to go. But your body's a stimulus response organism, and it responds to stimulus 24/7 without prejudice. So it's what you do the majority of the time that matters, not your best intentions. Okay. And I think that covers it. Like I said, if you haven't already done so and you're watching and you found some of the advice and recommendations I made here helpful, then what I would ask is join Nevos and my other ninjas and ninjets and all of us inside the Optimized Self Dojo, because if you found this helpful, this is just the tippy tip of the iceberg. There's so much more that I would love to help you with, and I just can't wait to interact with you on a deeper level, go deeper, wider, and help you achieve whatever it is you're currently struggling with or that you want to achieve, whether it's rediscovering your health, upgrading your fitness, optimizing your wellness, whatever the case may be. And I would welcome you to becoming a part of the dojo, because I'm sure you have a lot to offer the other members in terms of your experiences, things that you've succeeded at, things you've failed at, mistakes you've made along the way. And I'm sure everyone, including myself, can learn from that. So we like to kind of put our heads together and help one another become the best versions of ourselves. So that way we can go out and together create positive change in the world, however we each do that. All right. And if you are someone watching who is already part of the dojo, then please think about a friend or family member or someone that you love and care about, that you want the best for them, health, fitness, wellness wise. Then invite them to watch an episode of the Optimize Self Show, or invite them to send me a question, and I'd be more than happy to feature it here on the show. Or they can even come on live and we can have a discussion about whatever it is they deem most important. All right, whatever they need, want, and deserve. And that way they can get a taste and then maybe join us inside the dojo if they think it's a good fit for them. Okay. Anyways, I've had a lot of fun today. Let me switch over to, sorry about that, this outro here. And hopefully this time I'll remember to set up the annotations so each of these buttons goes to where they say it goes. All right. Anyways, thank you for your time, your attention, to things which I know nowadays are of much value to all of us. And I look forward to seeing you inside the next episode of the Optimized Self Show. Until then, take care and be a good human.